The cargo ship Borealis floated through the darkness of space, its engines humming with steady power. Captain Jack Miller sat in his command chair, looking at the stars that dotted the black void outside the main view screen. He rubbed his beard and checked the navigation charts again. "How much longer until we reach the Traxxas colony?" Jack asked. First Officer Lisa Wright looked up from her console. "About 3 days, sir. We're making good time." The Borealis was a human ship carrying goods from Earth to the outer colonies. It wasn't the biggest or the fastest ship in the galaxy, but it was reliable. The crew of 6 humans had worked together for 5 years now. "Engine status," Jack called out. Engineer Peter Gonzalez's voice came through the comm system. "Running at 93% efficiency, Captain. I could push it to 95%, but I'd rather save that extra power in case we need it later." Jack nodded. "Good thinking, Peter. Keep it steady." Humans were still new to the galactic community. Many alien species found them strange. They came from Earth, a planet that other species called a death world, a place with high gravity, dangerous weather, and deadly animals. These conditions had made humans tough and resourceful in ways that surprised the older spacefaring races. In the medical bay, Officer Karen Bennett organized supplies. The small plain room contained equipment that could handle most emergencies. Karen had treated everything from broken bones to alien viruses during her time on the Borealis. "Karen, how are our medical supplies?" Jack asked through the comm. "Fully stocked, Captain," she replied. "I even got those new burn treatments at our last stop." On the bridge, Navigation Officer Daniel Clark and Communications Specialist Emma Collins worked quietly at their stations. Daniel plotted their course through the Orion Spur, while Emma monitored communications from nearby systems. "Captain," Emma said suddenly, sitting up straight, "I'm picking up a distress signal. It's coming from the Kelvin asteroid belt." Jack frowned. "Put it through." A crackling voice filled the bridge. "To any vessels within range. This is Mining Outpost 42. We've had a critical system failure. Oxygen levels dropping. Please help." "How far?" Jack asked Daniel. 8 hours at current speed." "Sir." Jack didn't hesitate. "Change course." "Lisa, notify the crew." "What about our delivery schedule?" Lisa asked. "People need help," Jack said simply. "The cargo can wait." As the Borealis turned toward the distress call, none of the crew noticed the small dark ship hiding behind a nearby asteroid. On its bridge, reptilian eyes watched the approaching human vessel with hungry interest. "They've taken the bait," Captain Rickthar hissed to his pirate crew. "Scan their ship." "Scanning," his officer replied. "No weapons listed in their manifest, Captain." Rickthar's scaled lips pulled back in a smile, revealing sharp teeth. "Perfect. Prepare to attack." The Borealis slowed as it entered the Kelvin asteroid belt. Massive rocks floated silently in space, casting long shadows across the ship's hull. "I don't see any mining outpost," Daniel said, scanning the area from his navigation console. Emma frowned at her communications panel. "The signal is still coming through, but something feels wrong. It's too clean for an emergency broadcast." Captain Jack turned to Lisa. "Run a full sensor sweep. Look for any ships hiding behind the larger asteroids." Before Lisa could respond, the ship shook violently. Red warning lights flashed across the bridge. "We're hit," Peter shouted through the comm. Some kind of energy weapon struck our port side. A large ship emerged from behind a nearby asteroid. Its hull was dark gray with red markings that looked like claw marks. Small cannon turrets lined its sides, all pointing at the Borealis. "It's a trap," Jack said calmly. "Battle stations." "Captain," Emma said, "they're hailing us." Jack nodded. "Put them on screen." The view screen flickered, showing a reptilian face with yellow eyes and green scales. Sharp teeth showed as the alien smiled. "I am Captain Rickthar of the Kravik Hunters," the alien said. "Your ship is now mine. Surrender or be destroyed." Jack studied the pirate ship. It was bigger than the Borealis and clearly armed for battle. The humans had no chance in a direct fight. "We surrender," Jack said, his voice steady. "We're a cargo vessel. We have no weapons." Rickthar laughed, a harsh sound like rocks scraping together. "Yes, we scanned your manifest. No weapons at all. You humans are fools to travel without protection." "We'll open our docking bay," Jack said. "Please don't harm my crew." The view screen went dark. Jack turned to his officers. "Everyone stay calm and follow my lead." "You're not really giving up, are you?" Daniel asked. Jack gave a small smile. "Of course not. But right now, we need them to think we are." 20 minutes later, 6 Kravik pirates boarded the Borealis. They were all tall with muscular bodies covered in green and brown scales. Each carried an energy pistol and a curved blade at their side. Their leader, a scarred Kravik with a red stripe down his back, pointed his gun at Jack. "Hands up, human," he ordered. "Where is your crew?" "Gathered in the cargo hold, as requested," Jack replied, raising his hand slowly. The pirates marched Jack through his own ship until they reached the cargo hold. The rest of the crew stood together, hands raised. The Kravik surrounded them, weapons ready. "Search them," the leader ordered. His soldiers patted down each human, taking their comm devices. "No weapons," one pirate reported, sounding surprised. "Not even small knives." The leader laughed. Captain Rickthar was right. These Deathworlders are weak. Jack caught Lisa's eye and gave a tiny nod. She blinked twice in response. The humans remained silent and compliant as the pirates began to explore the ship, unaware that they had just made a terrible mistake. The human crew sat quietly in the cargo hold. 2 Kravik guards watched them, energy weapons pointed at their chests. Captain Rickthar entered the room, his yellow eyes scanning each human with interest. "So these are the famous Deathworlders," Rickthar said, walking slowly around the group. "You don't look very dangerous to me." Jack Miller kept his face calm. "We're just traders. We want no trouble." Rickthar stopped in front of Jack. "Your kind comes from a planet with crushing gravity, deadly weather, and poisonous air. Yet you travel through space without weapons. Why?" "We don't need them," Jack said simply. The pirate captain laughed. "Bring him," he ordered his guards. "I want to speak with this human captain alone." 2 Kravik grabbed Jack and pulled him to his feet. They marched him out of the cargo hold toward the bridge of the Borealis. Lisa Wright watched them go, then glanced at Peter Gonzalez. The engineer was staring at the floor, but his eyes moved quickly, looking at the panels beneath their feet. She understood his message. The maintenance access was under them. In the bridge, Rickthar pushed Jack into the captain's chair. "Your ship is basic but well-maintained," the pirate said. "It will make a good addition to my fleet." "What do you want with us?" Jack asked. "Your cargo is valuable. Your crew will be sold as workers." Rickthar leaned closer. "The galaxy finds humans interesting. Some collectors pay well for rare species." Jack nodded slowly. "I see. And if we cooperate, then you won't be harmed." Rickthar smiled with sharp teeth. "Much." Back in the cargo hold, Karen Bennett shifted closer to Emma Collins. "I need to use the bathroom," she whispered. Emma nodded slightly. "Me too." Karen raised her hand. "Excuse me," she called to the guards. "We need to use your bathroom facilities." The larger Kravik guard hissed. "Hold it. Human biology doesn't work that way," Karen explained patiently. "Our bladders are small because of our high-gravity planet. If we don't go soon, we'll have an accident right here." The guards looked at each other in disgust. "Fine," the smaller one said. "You two." Quickly. As Karen and Emma were escorted out, Daniel Clark coughed loudly, drawing the remaining guards' attention. Peter used that moment to slip a small metal object from his boot into Lisa's hand. On the bridge, Jack was explaining Earth cargo routes to Rickthar. "Most human ships follow standard paths. They'll be easy targets for you." Rickthar looked pleased. "You're being very helpful." I'm practical, Jack replied. But I should warn you about something. What's that? Asked Rickthar. On Earth, we have a saying, everything can be a weapon in human hands. Rickthar laughed. Bold words from a captive without claws or fangs. Jack smiled slightly. You misunderstand. It's not a threat. It's a fact. In the bathroom, Karen quickly examined the small space while Emma watched the door. Perfect, Karen whispered, looking at the cleaning supplies on a shelf. These will work. In the cargo hold, Lisa had worked the metal piece from Peter into the floor panel fasteners. Daniel kept talking loudly about human surrender customs, keeping the guard distracted. The pirates thought they were in control. They didn't notice the small signs of the humans preparing. They didn't understand that the calm faces of their captives weren't from fear. They were from patience. Karen and Emma returned to the cargo hold with their guard. Karen's hands were slightly wet, and Emma carried her jacket instead of wearing it. What took so long? The larger guard demanded. Human biology, Karen said with a small smile. Thank you for your patience. Rickthar entered with Jack and 2 more pirates. Search their cargo, he ordered. Find the valuable items. Captain, said one of the pirates, there's a locked container in the medical bay. It needs a code. Rickthar turned to Karen. You, medical officer, open it. Karen nodded. I'll need to go to the medical bay. No tricks, Rickthar warned. Of course not, Karen said calmly. 2 pirates took Karen to the medical bay. The locked container sat on a counter. It was white with red markings. Open it, ordered the first pirate. Karen typed a code into the panel. The container clicked open. It's just medical supplies, she explained, lifting the lid. Bandages, medicines, basic tools. The pirates looked inside. One reached in to touch a small bottle. Careful, Karen said. Some of these are fragile. As the pirate moved his hand, Karen bumped his arm. The bottle fell and broke on the floor. A clear liquid splashed onto both pirates' legs. Sorry, Karen said. That was just cleaning solution. The first pirate hissed in anger. Clumsy human. Then he blinked rapidly. My eyes. They burn. Both pirates began rubbing their eyes. The liquid had evaporated quickly, creating an invisible vapor that irritated their sensitive reptilian eyes. Karen moved fast. She grabbed a heavy medical scanner and hit the first pirate on the head. He fell to the floor. The second pirate reached for his weapon, but his watering eyes made it hard to see. Karen struck him too, and he collapsed. In the cargo hold, Daniel had removed the floor panel while the guards were distracted by Rickthar giving orders. He slipped through the opening into the maintenance shaft below. Where is the medical officer? Rickthar suddenly asked, noticing Karen was missing. Just then, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed. What's happening? Rickthar demanded. One of his pirates rushed in. Captain, the humans in the medical bay are unconscious, and the female is gone. Rickthar turned to Jack, fury in his yellow eyes. What did she do? Jack shrugged. Karen is very resourceful. Find her. Rickthar shouted to his crew, and count the humans. Make sure they're all here. The pirates quickly checked the remaining captives. One male is missing too. Rickthar grabbed Jack by the throat. You said you surrendered. We did, Jack said, still calm despite the clawed hand around his neck. But we never said we'd stay surrendered. Emma suddenly coughed loudly, drawing everyone's attention. In that moment, Peter tossed something small and round into the corner of the room. It exploded with a bright flash, and thick smoke filled the cargo hold. They have weapons, a pirate shouted. No, Jack said as the smoke swirled around them. We have chemistry. There's a difference. Chaos erupted as the humans scattered in the smoke. Daniel crawled through the narrow maintenance tunnels of the Borealis. Years of working on the ship had taught him every path and shortcut. He reached a junction and opened a small panel that showed the ship's electrical system. Perfect, he whispered. From his pocket, he took out a simple multi-tool. It wasn't a weapon, just a basic tool that all crew members carried. But in Daniel's hands, it was enough. Meanwhile, Captain Rickthar and his pirates had regained control of the cargo hold. The smoke had cleared, but now only Jack, Lisa, and Peter remained captured. Emma was missing too. "Where are your crew members?" Rickthar demanded, pressing his clawed hand against Jack's chest. "I don't know," Jack answered honestly. "We got separated in the smoke." Rickthar hissed in anger. "Lock these 3 in the storage room. Post guards at every exit. Find the others." In the medical bay, Karen had gathered more supplies. She mixed cleaning chemicals in a small spray bottle and tied a cloth around her face. Then she slipped into the hallway, moving silently toward the engine room. The ship's lights suddenly flickered and went out. Emergency lighting came on, casting red shadows through the corridors. "What's happening?" A pirate guard shouted into his communicator. "Power fluctuations," another voice answered. "The human in the tunnels must be damaging the electrical system." Emma had made her way to the communications room. 2 pirates guarded the door, but they were looking outward, not expecting anyone to be inside already. Emma had climbed through a service duct that was too small for the larger Kravik to use. She sat at her console, careful not to make noise. The equipment was dark due to the power cut, but Emma knew exactly which backup switches to flip. A small screen lit up, invisible from the doorway. In the storage room, Lisa sat on the floor next to Peter. They appeared defeated, heads down. The guard watched them with less attention now, thinking they were no threat. "How long?" Lisa whispered. 5 minutes, Peter replied quietly. "Daniel will have reached the main power junction by now." On the bridge, Rickthar paced angrily. "These humans are more trouble than they're worth. How can they fight without weapons?" His second-in-command looked nervous. "Captain, I've heard stories about Deathworlders. They say humans don't think like normal species. They turn anything into tools." "Nonsense," Rickthar snapped. "They're just being clever. But we have the advantage. We have real weapons." At that moment, every screen on the bridge lit up with the same message. "Systems compromised. Initiating emergency protocol." An alarm blared, different from the previous one. The message repeated in a calm, female voice, Emma's voice, recorded and played through the ship's speakers. "What is this?" Rickthar demanded. In the maintenance tunnels, Daniel smiled as he connected 2 more wires. He had taken control of the ship's environmental systems. With a few simple adjustments, he could now change the temperature, gravity, and air pressure in different sections of the ship. "Let's see how reptiles handle a little cold," he said to himself, turning a dial with his multi-tool. The temperature in the Borealis began to drop rapidly. The Kravik pirates, being cold-blooded reptiles, felt it immediately. Their movements slowed as the cold seeped into their muscles. "What's happening?" a guard asked, his breath now visible in the air. "Why is it so cold?" In the storage room, Lisa and Peter weren't affected as badly. Humans evolved on a planet with changing seasons. They were used to temperature shifts. "Now," Lisa whispered. She pulled a metal rod from her boot, the support bar she had removed earlier. With quick movements, she jammed it into the door lock and twisted. There was a snap, and the door opened. The guard outside had slowed due to the cold. He turned, surprised, as Lisa rushed out. Peter followed, carrying a makeshift weapon made from a broken pipe. On the bridge, Rickthar wrapped his arms around himself, trying to stay warm. "Find the human in the maintenance system," he ordered through chattering teeth. "Restore the heat." The ship's lights flickered again. Then the gravity in the bridge suddenly increased. The Kravik, used to lighter gravity on their home world, were forced to their knees by the crushing weight. "What is this?" Rickthar gasped, struggling to stand. The comm system crackled to life. "This is what Earth gravity feels like," Daniel's voice announced. "We humans grew up with this. For us, it's normal." In the medical bay, Karen had finished her work. She had created several small packages using materials from the first aid kits. She placed them near air vents throughout the ship. "Emma, are you ready?" she asked into a small communicator she had taken from an unconscious pirate. "Ready," Emma's voice replied. "Communications are under our control. I've blocked their distress signals and sent one of our own. Help will be here in 2 hours." "Good," Karen said. "I'm activating the packages now." She pressed a button on her medical scanner. The packages released a gas into the air system, not toxic, but designed to make the Kravik sleepy. It was a simple mixture of oxygen and a mild sedative usually used for nervous patients. Jack had escaped during the confusion and made his way to the engine room. He found 2 pirates there, moving slowly due to the cold. They tried to raise their weapons, but Jack was faster. He grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and sprayed both pirates with the chemical foam. They stumbled backward, blinded and confused. "Sorry about that," Jack said as he knocked them unconscious with the metal cylinder. On the bridge, Rickthar watched as his crew fell one by one. Some to the cold, some to the increased gravity, others to the strange gas filling the ship. The door to the bridge opened. Peter walked in calmly, still holding his pipe. "You," Rickthar hissed. "What have you done to my ship?" "Not much," Peter replied. "Just used what was available. That's what humans do." "But you have no weapons," Rickthar protested. Peter smiled. "That's where you're wrong. Humans don't need dedicated weapons. On a death world like Earth, anything can be a weapon if you're creative enough." Rickthar stared in disbelief as the truth finally dawned on him. The humans hadn't listed weapons on their manifest because they didn't need to. Their intelligence and adaptability made everything around them a potential weapon. The greatest weapons on the ship had been the humans themselves. Captain Rickthar struggled to stand in the high gravity. His remaining crew on the bridge had fallen to their knees. Peter watched them calmly, leaning against the doorway. "You still don't understand what you're dealing with," Peter said. "Humans are persistence predators." "What does that mean?" Rickthar asked, his voice strained. "On Earth, we didn't evolve to be the strongest or fastest. We evolved to never give up." Peter tapped his head. "Our advantage is here. We think differently." The ship's comm system crackled. "Peter, I've got control of all major systems," Emma's voice announced. "Karen reports 12 pirates unconscious from her sedative. 3 more trapped in the cold storage room." "Good work," Peter replied. "Lisa and Daniel." "We're in the cargo bay," Lisa answered. "We've secured the remaining pirates here. No serious injuries on either side." Jack entered the bridge, carrying the fire extinguisher over his shoulder. "Looks like you've got things under control here, Peter." "Captain," Peter nodded respectfully. Rickthar looked between the 2 humans in confusion. "You're not the captain?" he asked Jack. Jack smiled. "Of course I am. But on a human ship, we respect each other's expertise. Right now, Peter's engineering knowledge is what we need." Daniel's voice came over the comm. "Captain, I've restored normal gravity and temperature to most sections. Should I keep the bridge settings as they are?" Jack looked at Rickthar, still struggling in the high gravity. "Yes, for now." "How many pirates are still active?" "Just the 4 on the bridge with Captain Rickthar," Karen reported. "The rest are contained or unconscious." A pirate next to Rickthar suddenly lunged for his weapon. Jack reacted instantly, spraying the fire extinguisher at the pirate's face. The cold foam blinded him, and Jack swung the metal cylinder, knocking the pirate unconscious. "Please don't try that again," Jack said to the remaining pirates. "We don't want to hurt you." "You already have defeated us," Rickthar said bitterly. "Why not kill us like any normal victor?" "Because we're not like you," Jack replied. "On Earth, we learned that sometimes mercy is stronger than violence." Emma's voice came through with excitement. "Captain, I've made contact with a galactic patrol ship. They received our distress call and will be here in 20 minutes. "Excellent," Jack said. Tell them we have pirates to hand over. Richther looked up in defeat. The Galactic Patrol will execute us for piracy. Not if I talk to them, Jack said. You attacked us, yes, but no one was killed. I'll request imprisonment instead of execution. Why would you do that? Richther asked, genuinely confused. Because that's another thing about humans, Jack explained. We understand that today's enemy might be tomorrow's ally. The galaxy is too dangerous for unnecessary grudges. Karen entered the bridge with Daniel and Lisa. The human crew stood together, facing the defeated pirates. They carried no traditional weapons, yet they had completely overwhelmed a heavily armed pirate crew. Humans, Richther whispered, finally understanding. The real Deathworlders. The Galactic Patrol ship Justice Seeker arrived exactly when Emma said it would. It was larger than the Borealis, with sleek lines and official markings. 3 patrol officers boarded the human ship, weapons ready. The lead officer, a tall blue-skinned alien named Commander Zell, looked surprised to see the situation so calm. Captain Jack greeted the officers in the docking bay. Welcome aboard the Borealis, Jack said. We have 23 pirates contained and ready for transfer to your custody. Commander Zell holstered his weapon. You captured an entire pirate crew, without casualties. Yes, Jack replied. We wanted to handle this with minimal harm. Impressive, Zell said. We've been hunting Captain Richther for 2 cycles. His crew has attacked 12 ships in this sector. He looked at Jack with new respect. The report said you had no weapons on board. Jack smiled. That's correct. We don't carry weapons. The patrol officers moved through the Borealis, collecting the subdued pirates. Some were still groggy from Karen's sedative. Others were just confused about how they had been defeated so easily. In the ship's conference room, Jack sat across from Richther. The pirate captain was no longer dangerous, just tired and defeated. Commander Zell stood nearby, watching. As promised, I've requested that you and your crew receive imprisonment rather than execution, Jack said. Commander Zell has agreed. Richther looked up. Why show mercy? We would not have done the same. That's the difference, Jack said. Humans believe in second chances. I don't understand your species, Richther admitted. You come from the harshest world in the known galaxy, yet you're not cruel. You have no natural weapons, yet you defeated armed warriors. You list no weapons on your manifest, yet everything around you becomes a weapon in your hands. Jack leaned forward. That's the lesson here. Humans don't need to carry weapons because we learned something on Earth. Adaptation is better than specialization. Claws and fangs are great until they break. But the mind can always find new solutions. Commander Zell stepped closer. I've heard stories about Earth. They say it's a planet that tries to kill its inhabitants every day. That's a bit dramatic, Jack said with a laugh. But yes, Earth shaped us to be problem solvers. When you live on a world with earthquakes, tornadoes, blizzards, and countless predators, you learn to use whatever is available. And that's why you don't list weapons on your manifests, Zell realized. Because anything can be a weapon. Exactly, Jack nodded. A fire extinguisher, clinging chemicals, the ship's own environmental systems. Even knowledge itself can be a weapon when applied correctly. The last of the pirates were escorted onto the patrol ship. The human crew gathered in the docking bay to see them off. Will you continue your delivery route? Commander Zell asked Jack. Of course, Jack replied. We're already behind schedule. Richther, in restraints, stopped as he passed Jack. I will remember this lesson, the pirate said quietly, about humans and about mercy. Jack nodded. That's all I ask. After the patrol ship departed, the crew of the Borealis returned to their positions. Emma reset the communication systems. Karen restocked her medical supplies. Daniel and Peter repaired the minor damage to the ship. Lisa plotted a new course to make up for lost time. Jack sat in his captain's chair, looking at the stars through the view screen. Back to normal operations, he announced. Let's get this cargo delivered. Do you think word will spread? Lisa asked. About what happened here? It always does, Jack replied. Maybe the next pirates will think twice before attacking the human ship. Or maybe they'll just look more carefully at our manifest, Peter added with a smile. Jack laughed. It wouldn't help them. The most dangerous things on this ship will never appear on any manifest. What's that? Emma asked. Jack gestured to his crew. Us, humans, Deathworlders who turned survival into an art form. The Borealis engines hummed as the ship accelerated into the darkness of space, continuing its journey. Its manifest still listed no weapons. It didn't need to. The end.